This I could say, okay, so let me go back in time a little bit here, cue up the sound effect from memory lane, right? This kind of started, for us at least, and I want to get your guys' take for sure, but this kind of started for us. We went on Timcast Culture War, right? And for those that aren't aware, it's a 2v2 debate type situation where you sit across the table from someone that pretty much is an antagonist, right? And we sat across from a guy, I forget his name, nice guy though, family guy. It was something like Alpha Dad or something like that. He has a Twitter platform.
Yeah, I remember.
And we debated with him on this situation, and he was arguing, hey, follow Christ, be religious, be a family member, etc., which I agree with. Yes. I think everyone here at the table is a big proponent of the nuclear family. And let me be extremely clear about that. Me and you have talked about it extensively with the nuclear family. Everyone here at the table, I've had a conversation with you guys about the nuclear family and how it is the backbone of a thriving civilization. But let's understand that we're in 2024 and the landscape has changed. So I'm telling them, look, that is ideal, but we got to operate on what's real. Women are no longer the same. And just because you found your wife and you were able to get on your program and she was, fears God and everything else, a lot of these hoes don't. That's not how the world works anymore. So we had this debate, and people kind of saw like, okay, that's ideal, but the reality is most people aren't religious anymore. Most people live secular lives. Most people live godless lives, and you got to kind of adapt to the new normal and understand how to at least identify these women so that you don't take them seriously. Right. Yeah, at least identify.
I think exactly. Having slept around a lot, you really learn what women do. You learn how to tell when they're shady. Like, if you haven't gone and slept around, you aren't going to be able to read women. You have to go, I think it was you who said go sleep with at least 50 women or something. It's
they go after me all the time.
That's not even that many, but that's how you start learning women, though.
It's so funny.
That's not that many.
50. I mean, what are you talking about?
It sounds like, but that's like how you learn the psychology. And you see when women, you see the lies they're telling other dudes when there's you and shit, and you start being like, oh, so you learn to spot the signs. If you ain't doing that, you can't. Like, I could tell. Hey, some girls are good liars, but I could usually tell pretty quick their character because I've gone and done the crazy shit. And I think for men, we can live like that, and it's easy for us when we want to go settle down, get a family. The girls don't care. Unfortunately for women, it don't work that way. The girls are usually out running around. I see the girls I used to party with, most of them are still single, trying to find a man. And most of the guys that we're doing this with, settled down, living a different life. So it's interesting. I don't know. I don't think everyone's different. I don't say you guys need to do that, but you're going to learn the women a lot better if you do.
Yeah. How much of the argument coming from the traditional argument?
Oh, my bad. Sorry. So so fast forward. So it started there with the culture war, right? Yeah. And it kind of brought attention to it. And then next thing I know, trad cons are kind of saying like, and I know they're talking about me because they're using the 50, using the number, the marker of 50 girls. Because I came out, long story short, hey,
they fixate
you don't want to get married unless you have a few things in place. Make $100,000 per year, have 6 months of savings, be in shape, 35 years old, and have sex with 50 women. I think at that position, you're in a situation where you are aware of women, you're financially competent to a degree where you could be in a position where a woman will respect your authority to some degree. The average woman should be able to follow that lead. You set a decent example at that point, right? That's just to get married. 50 girls, what are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. Right. Going crazy. So I see the Tradcons over on whatever, saying whatever, and obviously Chase saying what he says. And he's like making it look like I'm sitting here promoting degeneracy, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just telling guys to adapt to the new normal.
How much of it is the people from the traditional side of the argument are older? Like I'm thinking Dennis Prager is ancient. Dave Ramsey also, and I'm again not against the nuclear family, and these guys are very fortunate. They've had their wives the entire time, and fine, good for them. But how much of this is just old way of thinking? Like 30 years ago,
in Dennis Prager's cases, I think he's on his third wife.
He's on his third wife, right? But 40 years ago, it was wise counsel to go and get a college degree. Now that's one of the worst things you could possibly do in times of change. How much is it just old farts thinking old fart stuff?
I'm just curious what's their solution because, look, the problem is, let's say you go get married nowadays, right? Without the experience, what's going to happen to you? You get divorced, raped, you get, for example, half your money gone, and it's like, okay, we're telling guys a solution. Well, what's their solution? I don't know what it is, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, their thing is, be religious, and that's going to kind of save you. And my thing is, I think what that'll do is you kind of pull the wool over your eyes when you do that, because what ends up happening is you're going to look at the girl from an idealistic perspective versus a realistic perspective. Like, oh, she's a stripper, but she found God now, or something like that. And it's like, I look at it like women always reserve the right to go back to feminism whenever it suits them. And they will. They will go ahead and use the divorce court against you if they want. I hate to use this example, but like, look at Steven Crowder. Married a traditional conservative Christian woman, God-fearing. And what did she do?
Tries to ruin his career.
She's trying to destroy him right now, and she edited clips to make him look like a monster when it wasn't the truth at all.
Everyone in the argument has done and said some stupid shit with any serious girlfriend. So edit a little clip.
Absolutely.
I'm sure any of your exes, you could do this bitch is saying some crazy shit, but I would never like record it and edit it out. That's
what makes it even more heinous? She sent it to the Daily Wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like she had the
on purpose, by the way.
She had the intent to destroy this man. Like you're gonna go after him and send it to his. Pretty much his ops, right? Sorry, I can't think of a better term right now. I'm asleep. But you send it to his ops. You know that they're going through a feud right now, the whole contract situation. Yeah. You're going to send it to them, and then they all pretty much like, they're dropping hit pieces on him and shit. It's like, come on, man. You're supposed to be his wife, his confidant. At least keep that behind. Like, have your divorce court on the side. Don't destroy the man's reputation and his ability to earn money for the children.
Yeah, with hidden videos. I'm sure she said some crazy shit to him, too, if he filmed it.
And at some point, she loved him. They said till death do us part, or until she's unhappy. But Marquette, what's your take on this, bro? Just curious.
A lot. So, number one.
Take your time, brother. Take your time. Give us the wisdom.
I hear it percolating over there.
I just sit back waiting to say some crazy, wild stuff. So I want to turn the entire world upside down. Number one, I'd like to say that Christianity is entirely lost. For example, you find Christians in America, you'll find an LGBTQ flag on the church itself. You'll find churches that have female pastors, where in the Bible it states that a woman should learn in quiet subjection. A woman should not be the leader of men.
And the bishop should be the husband of one man. Or I'm sorry, the bishop should be. The bishop should be.
It does not.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The bishop should be the husband of one wife. I'm sorry. The bishop should be the husband of one wife. And the church you're referring to, there's one in Los Angeles. It's at the intersection of Fuller and Highland. You're right. It's just a huge LGBT flag.
And Fresh is going to be a pastor, so he could definitely.
That's crazy. By the way,
are you really studying?
Yeah,
he was going to be.
I was going to be.
Okay.
Canada.
Yeah. So. Christianity is extraordinarily lost, as is the identity of the American, because we forget that this country was started by religious zealots, right? Dude on the Quaker box, Puritans, these kinds of folks. So we're very lost from an identity standpoint. Christianity is lost as well. Then when you go beyond that, I'd like to assert that the man who is succumbing to marriage is probably one of the weakest men in the society. I'd actually turn up things a degree higher and state that men who are truly traditional, today you actually have to do things that historically would not be viewed as traditional. Whereas previously you get into the marriage contract, this woman is now essentially your property. She's subject to you and to your domination. Now when the marriage occurs, you're subject to the government's domination. So it is the weak male who submits to marriage, for marriage is beneficial to the female. Why? Because it locks you into a long-term contract, like Scottie Pippen, right? You get in that long-term bad contract, and what happens is that over time, the female's declining rapidly in value. Menopause, things like this, right?
Biological fact.
Right?
Yeah.
And here's the worst part about it. Are you getting the things you really wanted when you were going into the marriage? All of the things every male actually wanted? Sexual variety, peace of mind, sex on demand.
No.
She's getting all of the things she sought. Commitment, financial support, even if you're not in the relationship after the marriage. So the marriage is a horrible deal for men. In fact, I would suggest that today it only makes sense when you're about to procreate, and I still wouldn't do it legally. And the only reason I'm doing it when I'm about to procreate is so that we're not mixing paternal blood, because that's a filthy thing.
Wow, well said.